Well, why does religious freedom matter? I've already suggested that it's very important that people be able to speak and act in accordance with what they think most important. And I don't think freedom of conscience alone is enough. Religion is always under threat because it posits a centre of authority that's independent of the state. Now, it may be positing a source of authority, God particularly, which a totalitarian government finds threatening. But actually it also posits a source of authority that the majority of people in a democratic society might not like. The will of the people might find that it's thwarted by appeals to an authority that they don't like very much. So again, there's the tendency for the majority to perhaps, if they can, bear down on the minority. And unless religion as such can be specially protected, I think it will be specially targeted, because it's more than just ordinary actions according to conscience. It's saying something more threatening in the eyes of a lot of people. Religion is often not seen as intrinsically important, particularly on the other side of the Atlantic. At least here in your Constitution, religion as such is picked out. You'll find in human rights documents the phrase is very often religion and belief, which begins to attenuate things quite considerably. So environmentalism could be regarded as a form of belief, for instance, and has been in British courts. I would argue that religion is deeply rooted in human nature. It's part of what we are. Now, that's a long argument, but again, if it's thwarted, it somehow challenges our very ability to flourish as human beings. Yet, in present-day Europe, in present-day England, religion, let alone Christianity, is easily put on one side. When human rights and human dignity are extolled, equality is thought to be the be-all and end-all. It's thought even more important than freedom, particularly religious freedom. Let me quote the Council of Europe. You may not be familiar with the Council of Europe. It's not the European Union. It's wider than that. It includes countries such as Turkey and Russia, but it is the underpinning for the European Court of Human Rights. So what the Council of Europe, which consists of parliamentary representatives from 40-odd European countries, what they say does have some influence. Human rights are seen in a recent document from the Council of Europe as being in opposition to religion rather than being underwritten by it. Now, let me say, I think that human rights don't just float in the air. I don't think human rights are important because we, whoever we are, think they're important. I want to know why they're important. What do they rest on? Why are humans important? Why do humans matter? And I suspect one very important reason is a religious reason. Humans, for instance, are made in the image of God, the Judeo-Christian tradition would say. But the Council of Europe doesn't see it that way. They come out of the tradition of the later Enlightenment, very much the kind of atheist materialist tradition of latter-day France. And, for instance, the document that I'm quoting from says, states may not allow the dissemination of religious principles which, if put into practice, would violate human rights. If doubts exist in this respect, states must require, I do like that word require religious leaders to take an unambiguous stand in favour of the precedence of human rights as set forth in the European Convention on Human Rights over any religious principle. So, in other words, the Pope must be required to put human rights above any religious principle. Now, what I don't like about that is actually the glib view that human rights and religion are two different things. Now, I've already said perhaps human rights rest on religious views, but more important, the right to religious freedom is one of the most important of human rights. And yet here, and so often, you find human rights put on one side, the right to equality, and all religion on the other. And so religious freedom is just forgotten, and yet the right to believe and the right to manifest one's belief is built into all of these charters and shouldn't be forgotten.